right, so today we're going to continue talking about order of operations, and we started on that last week. Before we continue with it, we're going to watch a short video about the order of operations, and that would give us like a quick reminder.
Pie. What kind of pie is it? Oh, blackberry's my favorite. Aren't you supposed to put the filling in the pie before you bake it? Dear Tim and Moby, how can I remember the order of operations? From Anthony. Well, as Moby can tell you, doing math is a lot like baking. You can't just do the operations in any old order. Let's take a look at a string of operations. The items inside parentheses come first in the order of operations. You do the stuff inside the parentheses before anything else. Next come the exponents. 3 squared is 9. Multiplication and division are next. You work those from left to right. And addition and subtraction come in last from left to right. And we're done. Well, if we ignore the order of operations, there's no telling what we'd end up with. The order of operations ensures that everybody ends up with the same correct answer. Hey, good question. When you come across multiple operations inside parentheses, you do those in the correct order too. Then you do the stuff outside. So once again, parentheses, then exponents, then multiplication and division, and finally addition and subtraction. Well, there are easier ways to remember this, like saying, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Stop it. You're confusing people. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally.
All right, so that was the order of operations. And that was Tim and Moby, and they being just really silly. So remember, we worked on order of operations, and we had used Gavin for groupings, and parenthesis is one of that groupings. All right, so we said Gavin entertains mom and dad after supper, and then Gavin stands for groupings, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. All right, so today we're going to look at some of the problems, and before we even solve these problems, what we want to look at is what operation do we have to do first? All right, what is the order of operations? Think about it first before even solving the problems. All right, so let's go ahead and look at a few practice multiple choice questions. In the following problem, which step should you perform first? So we've got 5 plus 4 cubed divided by 8. All right. And remember the order of operations. So what do we have to do first? We do not have any groupings or parentheses here. So the next would be exponents. All right. So we need to multiply 4 by 4 by 4. All right. Here, right here, this exponent here tells me how many times I'm going to multiply 4 by itself. All right, what is the solution to the problem? So when we solve this problem, all right, so we've got 4 by 4 by 4. So 4 times 4 is 16. And then times 4 is 64. And the next would be multiplication and division. So here I do not have multiplication, but I do have division here. 64 divided by 8 will give me 8. And then I can go ahead and add my 8 to 5. All right. And that would give me 13. In the following problem, which step do we need to perform first? We always perform our groupings, our parentheses first, always. All right, so we want to go ahead and multiply 12 by 3. And after that, we'll do the exponent and then divide. 12 times 3 is 36, right? And then 3 times 3, because the exponent is 2 here. All right, so 3 squared, or 3 times 3 is 9. 36 divided by 9 will give me 4. And I'm going to subtract that from 14. So my answer would be 10. All right, I'm going to have you answer this in the chat box. In the following problem, which step should you perform last? Not first, last. Which of the steps would we perform last? In order to help me with this, I want to go ahead and do my first performance. All right, so I'm going to, there are no groupings, no parentheses, there's no exponent. So the next will be multiplication and division. And then I'm going from left to right. So the first thing I'm going to do is multiply 2 times 6, which is 12. And I'll divide that by 3, which will give me 4. And then I'm going to add that to my 8. So it'll be 8 plus 4. So that would be C, add 8 and 4. All right. And then what would the answer be? 12. 8 plus 4 is 12. Okay. So right here, we're doing really great with this. And now we're going to shift to to writing expressions. So here are a few of our students. We're just going to look at one and how they use the order of operations. Now they did this in words. So we're going to read it and then figure out what it's trying to tell us. Take the sum of 8 and 4, which is 8 plus 4, and divide it by 3. The first step is to find the sum of 8 and 4. A sum is the answer to an addition problem. So I know I have to add these two numbers, all right? I'll write this first in parentheses to show that this is a step that has to be done first. That's it. The sum of 8 and 4. And next is to write division by 3. And then I'm going to divide that by 3. So 8 plus 4 is 12, divided by 3 would give me 4. And then here's another one. Find the product of 6 plus 2 and 5 plus 1. All right. So it's asking me for the product of 6 plus 2. The product is the answer to a multiplication problem. I cannot determine the product until both addition problems are solved. Therefore, I'm going to go ahead and place each of these addition steps in parentheses to show that they have to be done first. Here's what it's going to look like. The product of 6 plus 2 and then 5 plus 1. All right, so the next step is after adding these in parentheses, then I'm going to go ahead and multiply. All right, so the next step is to multiply these two sums. So this will be 8 times 5, right? And that is it for our lesson for the day. So we are going to go ahead. I'm going to stop recording.